Well, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let me just ensure we have sound really quick just to double check. We are live, streaming live today on LinkedIn, Facebook, our digital community, as well as our digital social network out there in the neighborhood. So if you can hear us, please post your comments, tell us where you're watching, share, nice message of shout out so that we can recognize you. We have an incredible opportunity discussion for you today. We have been covering this whole month how to make it into nonprofit work, but also how to identify mission driven work. Several leaders have joined us throughout the month to discuss their perspective, their opinion, how also they landed great opportunities, the ones that they enjoy themselves. So I hope that you have a chance to go back and watch the replays and also join us in the neighborhood. Our Blue Star Careers webinars today are here to intended to connect our members to job opportunities, partnerships, but also raise awareness while creating employment pathways for all Blue Star Career members. This month, as I mentioned already, we have been highlighting mission driven careers and the powerful impact that this work can do for someone's career, but also for others around you. This webinar today is being led in the discussion by Kelly from Higher Heroes USA. She is a dedicated military spouse and advocate of all of our community members, committed to empowering all military families throughout their career, support, networking, and of course, policy advocacy. She champions everyone and all the opportunities to help us move forward by driving meaningful driven career options for all members. Higher Heroes USA, if you're not familiar, is a nonprofit organization that empowers military members, veterans, and their spouses by providing personalized career coaching, job search assistance, and personal development success to help you secure meaningful employment. Whatever that looks like for you, we want to support you. And that's why these webinars are here to make sure that we are introducing you to vetted resources, partners who really want to know and want to support you. So please tell us in the comments where you're watching. We'd love to be able to send you a shout out. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for your support. Well, hello, hello. Welcome once again to this live webinar. We are streaming live. This is not recorded, so we love your comments, your questions. Whichever network you are watching, please tell us. If you don't want to be in any of the social networks, the neighborhood is always a good neutral place for you to log in and watch our webinars there as well. But I'm very excited to meet and welcome back again our one of our great trailblazers, our advocate, our incredible research partner from our community, who is really mobilizing great resources and programming to support military spouses, but also anyone out there who may need a great tip or research connection and how to leverage their career trajectory. And I'm talking about Kelly from Higher Heroes USA. And Kelly, I chopped off your middle name, I think, because I saw that you recently changed it. So, but please welcome to Careers. Tell us a little bit about yourself, describe your military connection, and anything that you want to share about your career trajectory.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Laura. So my name is actually Kelly. Sometimes I put my maiden name in there to not confuse people, but that is really my name. I'm married to Kelly, so that's how I got my ridiculous name. But yeah, so I am the Serving Spouses Program Manager at Higher Heroes USA. I've been with Higher Heroes for almost 9 years now, which I'll get a little bit more into as we dive into this topic. But yeah, so I am a military spouse myself. My husband actually just separated from the military, so I guess I'm now a veteran spouse, which is a whole new different world for me. But my husband served in the Air Force for over 10 years, around 11 years. And then we separated out and we're now located in Pennsylvania where we grew up. So yeah, so living the veteran spouse life. But since joining Higher Heroes, I've had the privilege of just working in the military veteran community and military spouses. I've personally helped over 1,500 military veterans and spouses find jobs, and helped create our Serving Spouses program, which I'll talk a little bit more about. But essentially, our program is to support military spouses in finding meaningful employment.
So that's fantastic. So, so let me ask you this, just put you on the spot right now. I know we're going to learn more about Hire Heroes USA, but in your personal professional opinion, so I'm learning not to ask that now, what does meaningful employment means to you?
I think it's just a job that you love, honestly. If you boil it down to it, you spend a lot of time at work. Like half your life is at work. So you really want to, as you're going to interviews and, networking, I always recommend, you are being interviewed as a potential employee, but you should also be interviewing the employer to see if it's a good fit for you. You don't want to land up in a career, and as many of us have, that you absolutely hate, and you hate waking up in the morning and going to a job that isn't fulfilling for you. So I think finding a job requires a lot of self-reflection of what's going to make you happy. Maybe you went to college for something that you aren't interested in, and you found that out pretty quickly. And it's time to pivot and use your skills in a different industry or career. So there's a lot of self-reflection that's involved. And I'm one to admit, like, I didn't get it right the first time coming out of college. I didn't love what I was doing, but I eventually, through a lot of self-reflection, figuring out, and I'll get more into this, but landed in the nonprofit space, kind of accidentally. But with that said, it really resonates me to help with people every day. And that's what fulfills me. So that's why, it makes me happy coming to work every day, because I get to help other people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your perspective. And I hope that our members, after watching your own career trajectory, your experience, but also your great tips and how you help those who are looking for meaningful employment, again, whatever that looks like, because everyone's journey is a little bit different, then they can reflect back and get inspired to land that career that they're looking for. But first, let's go right now and learn a little bit more about Hire Heroes USA, a great partner. We love sharing all of the resources and all the great information that you guys provide. Sending everyone out there, the moment we see a resume that is not sort of a up to date, what we like to do, career ready, it's like you got to go and get it fixed up by our partners. So here we are sharing a little bit more about Hire Heroes USA, how you are serving military spouses in your program.
Yeah, so Hire Heroes USA, our Serving Spouses program, one thing that really sets us apart from other programs that help spouses is we're open to all military spouses. So even if you are a veteran spouse, reservist spouse, or your husband and wife has separated, Gold Star spouses, we are here to support you no matter where you are in your military spouse journey. So we started our Serving Spouses program really because a veteran's job search is going to look a lot different than a military spouse's job search. So we wanted to create resources and just tips and tricks to help our clients land that dream job. So we started our program in 2018, and we helped over 7,000 military spouses who never served in the military find meaningful employment. In a couple days, we should be hitting 8,000. So very proud of that number. And honestly, I just want to continue to grow and help as many military spouses as we can. So what Hire Heroes USA does, as Laura mentioned, kind of the bread and butter of our services that a lot of people know us from is that resume writing. So if you have a resume that you are not, comfortable with, you feel like needs updating, needs an uphaul, that is what our team is here for. So when you register for our services, you are going to be paired with a transition specialist. That transition specialist is going to stay with you up until you find a job. And even once you find a job, our services are always continuous. So a couple years from now, if you're looking again or PCSing again and you're needing to find a new job, you're always welcome to come back. But our transition specialists are going to connect with you. They're going to do an initial assessment of your background, figure out what you're looking for, career coach you into, figuring out how your skills lie and what skills can be transferred into different careers. And then we're going to rewrite your resume for you and put it in a format that is nice and easy on hiring managers. We did a lot of research with hiring managers of what they're looking for. So that's kind of the bread and butter of our service is that resume. But then we offer a whole slew of other additional services, such as our career counseling services. We have over 1,000 working professionals that volunteer their time with us to do industry-specific mock interviews and career counseling sessions. So what that means is if you're a graphic designer and you come to Hire Heroes and say, hey, I just graduated with my degree in graphic design. I'm looking to get into that career field, but doesn't know what that looks like. We could connect you with a graphic designer who has many years experience working in the career field, and you could just, ask them different questions, really just figure out, what you need in your career to land that position. So we really try to pair you up with industry specific career coaches. So then we have a whole bunch of training and referral partners, such as our wonderful partners at Blue Star Families. So if you need something outside of the scope of employment, we could refer you on to some of our referral partners, and then training partners as well. We do offer job boards and then do career events. We have a job board, and then we offer career events such as we have our Building Career Connections events. So we bring in employers who want to hire military spouses. We also have our virtual workshops and career fairs. So always check our schedule on the website of just different events coming up to support military spouses and veterans. Yeah, and for those of you who aren't a client, we would love to get you registered to become a client if you are job seeking. Like I said, we are open to all military spouses and veterans as well. So you could scan the QR code, but really you just have to register at hireheroesusa.org. It's going to say get started. You go through the registration process. We're going to ask you a couple questions about yourself, ask you to upload your current resume, if you have one, your LinkedIn, just so our team could assess your background before we give you a call. And then once you're registered, you're gonna expect a call from a transition specialist who will be paired with you along in your employment search. So head out to hireheroesusa.org to fill out that registration process, and then you'll be connected with a transition specialist.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for refreshing our options for all members and for also welcoming all military spouses. I'm sure now that you are on this side now of the retirement phase, you know that there's a lot of shifts and a lot of still um, challenges that go through the process of identifying your final community, your happily ever after sort of a home, adjusting to going back home, or just simply adjusting to your transition alongside with your veteran, with your family. So the fact that you open and you're open to all services to all military spouses, that is a great process to support. So thank you. I did share the link as well, which is distributed among all the different groups. So if anybody needs to connect or you're not familiar with Hire Here USA, please just ask us, ask those questions, post it, and we'll share it. And if we done with this webinar, you're also welcome to post them, and we'll come back and as we watch the replay, sort of say, we'll go ensure that you make it where you need to go. Now, Kelly, thank you so much. Now, anything that has been an aha moment for you as you have, navigated your career through Hire Heroes USA that has been very impactful for you, that has allowed you to stay? I mean, you stay with Hire Heroes USA for a very long time now. So, what's the secret sauce to the success?
Yeah, I think I'm a Hire Heroes USA lifer. If they don't get rid of me, they haven't got rid of me yet. So I've been here for 9 years. But essentially, when I first started at Hire Heroes, we were a really small nonprofit. It was really startup culture. We didn't have a lot of clients. We didn't have a lot of funding. But essentially, we grew when our mission started growing. So I had the privilege of watching Hire Heroes go from a pretty small nonprofit to a pretty large nonprofit. But how I got involved in Hire Heroes, my background is in HR. I worked in payroll. I worked as an HR generalist. I did not, and my master's is in HR as well. I did not love HR. There's some aspects of it that I liked, others not. Firing people, hated it. Keep me up at night. That's not something I ever want to really do. But just that aspect of HR, really, I didn't love. And I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Early on, I kind of figured that out. But with that said, that was my background. So I was applying for HR roles, getting interviews, and I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But with that said, so that was my prior background. My husband got a special duty. This was about in 2016 for working for the ROTC program at UNC Chapel Hill. So we moved there, and I really thought, I just graduated with my master's. I had years of experience in HR, and I thought it'd be really easy to find a job. I'm like, come on, this is Research Triangle Park. You hear everything, like business is booming here. Someone's going to scoop you up. I'm not kidding. I applied to hundreds of positions, and months turned into months. And it was the hardest time of my life. Kind of for the first time in my life, I didn't have a job. And that was really hard for me because I'm a type of person that needs to be working. But yeah, it was just super hard. And I didn't have a community. This was a new location for me. Didn't have a network. So it was super hard time in my life. And I dragged myself to a job fair that I didn't want to go to. But at this point I was desperate to find an employer. And that's when I stumbled upon Hire Heroes USA, which is weird because a lot of our services now are virtual. We don't even do a lot of on the ground, job fairs. So I feel like it was fate. And I met with a representative there who's still with us today, Yesenia. She told me all about Hire Heroes. Like, we're gonna get you squared away. Here's your fix up your resume. That was like on a Thursday. That Monday, I got a call from my transition specialist, Marshall, who's one of my best friends to this day, called me up and said, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to get you career ready. And I listened to him. At that point, I was just in awe of the knowledge he had and the different tricks and tools he had, which I was not doing. So once I started implementing, what he was telling me, I started getting more interviews and offers started coming in, and it was awesome. And then I saw a transition specialist position posted at Hire Heroes, and I essentially networked myself in. I let Marshall know, hey, this is something that I'm interested. Like, you were awesome to work with. I am a military spouse myself. I'm, this is the community that I'm in. It resonates with me. And he got me an interview just from that networking. And 9 years later, here I am. I helped start our Serving Spouses program, which helps military spouses. We've always helped military spouses, but we didn't have a dedicated program to helping them. But yeah, it was kind of just by luck. I will admit, I was oblivious to the resources out there for military spouses. I had no idea that, Blue Star Families or Hire Heroes USA existed in 2016. So a nonprofit career wasn't really even on my radar until I started working with a nonprofit, and the help that they gave me, I thought was invaluable. And that's when I was like, I want this job.
I want this one. And I want one like the one you have. You probably told Marshall, I want to do what you do, Marshall. I want to
Yes.
do what you do. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's a really great way for you to really, leverage the resources, the connections, and really feel the power of community, because that's what we all, especially in today's very challenging landscape, we all cannot do this alone. You need to really reach out to resources, which drives me to my next question for you, Kelly. Now, in your definition, what does being career ready mean? Because I think we all kind of look at different definitions, but in your particular landscape, as you working directly with members, what does career ready? Being career ready, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah. And I think a lot of clients come in and they just want a job. And that's understandable. You need to support your family. You need to find financial gain. But with that said, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're career ready. I think being career ready is knowing exactly what you want to do. And that's kind of hard to say because sometimes you fall in different areas and you kind of just land there. But if you have a general passion, like for me, what Marshall helped me with, I was like, wow, I didn't know that jobs like that existed, like getting to help people. I never really thought about it. Like I was working on HR corporation side of things. Now I'm on the flip side of it. Instead of firing people, I'm helping people get hired. And that's something I never realized that I could do. So it's just really, you got to research. You got to do your own self-reflection, do a lot of research. There's a lot of different personality tests out there. Just Google it. That will figure out what skill sets you bring and what could translate into different careers. There's a lot of just different resources out there. When you go in a job search and you just said, I just want a job, and you're going blindly into that, it's going to make it a lot harder. Once you streamline and know kind of just areas of what you're targeting, it's going to really help you in your job search and help you target specific careers and specific jobs. Hire Heroes offers career counseling sessions. Totally recommend taking advantage of that. Say you are doing some research on your own and you find out, I'm just logistics coordinator position. You read all the details. Hey, that looks something that I want to get into, but it's not really my background. Maybe you have a military background. Let me connect you with someone actually working in that career field where you could pick their brain, ask them questions. What certifications do I need? What should I be doing to make myself stand out in this career field? And just talking to people and networking. So Hire Heroes offers that. American Corporate Partnerships, we love them, giving them a shout out as well. They offer more longer mentorship. So you're assigned one mentor like throughout the year. So just, mentorship and reaching out to different people for, interviews, informational interviews to learn more about the organizations. So drilling down the industry, drilling down kind of what makes you happy, and locating people in that job, field and connecting with them. I think that, in my opinion, makes them career ready.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for exploring and expanding on that definition. I do want to ask you a question. At a comment out here in one of my other managers, but career coaching and employer connections, how does that work through the Hire Heroes landscape, or when you are working directly on one-on-one with a participant?
Yeah, so you're a transition specialist. Once you're assigned a TS, they're going to have general knowledge of all, career fields. They're career coaches themselves. But with that said, they're not working within specific jobs that you want to get into. So that's why we really offer industry-specific career coaching. So just let your transition specialist know that you're interested in that. And all our volunteer corps, as I mentioned, we have over 1,000 working professionals. Our transition specialists will put in a request to our volunteer team. Our volunteer team will go through all of our volunteers and align you with someone who directly is working in the industry that you want to work in. And then our volunteer coordinators will coordinate a time for you guys to meet, and everything is done over the phone. So our volunteer will give you a call, and you could, like I said, just pick their brain. They're going to give you advice into really industry specific advice.
Now, what happens? I know you mentioned you support all military spouses, but let's just be realistic. I know from my personal life experience, life happens. Life gets in the way. There's a fire, and then my career has to be put on, behind maybe next month, or as soon as I settle in my next PCS orders. How often can I re-engage, or how soon can I come back and say, hey, Kelly, I failed the call. I failed to follow up with the final directions. How can I reactivate that support again?
Yeah. So the good thing about our services, our team doesn't give up on you. They're going to be calling you every month and checking in, and that's fine if you let us know, hey, I'm not job seeking right now. We'll put your profile on hold. But as soon as you're ready, just come back to your transition specialist and we'll pick up right when you left off. We know that, life gets in the way, especially working with military spouses. I have clients that are like, we're moving to Germany next month. well, job seeking is not going to take place immediately. Like, you got to get settled there. So we'll annotate that, and you call us when you're ready, just to begin the process again. But really, it's just communication with our program. We ask that you just communicate with us, let us know where you're at in your job search, so we could best support you.
That's wonderful news. Thank you, especially right now as we approach the summer. I know I've already got notified for a few members who are PCSing and trying to navigate this hectic life and current landscape of job searching, which is very competitive. And so, if you're moving to a new community, connect. Don't do this alone. Use all of the services available, and so that you can continue to connect with the right research that is tailored, but also is driven to support you all the way from the beginning to the end. So, make sure that you are connecting and definitely following up. Um, I do want to ask you another question, Kelly. Any additional resources that participants should also expand and be aware of while they're going through their career transition or identifying the next meaningful career?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Hire Heroes has a ton of resources, but just do your research on different nonprofits out there, such as Blue Star Families, Hire Heroes. As I mentioned, as a military spouse, I had no idea that these resources were out there. So take advantage of them as much as possible. I know Blue Star Families, Hire Heroes, we're part of the MSEP network for Military Spouse Employment Partnership through the DoD. I think that is one resource that isn't utilized enough, is that job board that the DoD offers, especially if you're looking to get connected with a military spouse friendly organization. They pretty much have laid that out on the job board. Employers come to them who want to hire military spouses. So check out that job board. Let your transition specialist know once you get connected with Hire Heroes, and we'll best guide you in the resources out there. That's one thing that I really hold deep to my heart, is I just want to get the most resources out there. You may think that some of these nonprofits are in competition with one another, but we're not. We just have a final goal to help military spouses and veterans. So resource sharing is like my number one thing. And my team, once you get connected to a transition specialist, they'll be providing you with the best resources tailored to, what you're looking for in your career.
Absolutely. And we're all here, we're all here together to support everyone. And so if we don't have the magic wand or the answer, Kelly will have the answer, and then Kelly friends will be our friends. And so you gotta network and you gotta connect, but you have to also ask, for additional support. With that being said, you mentioned your team, so let's put you on the spot as a hiring manager.
Okay.
As a hiring manager, what is an ideal candidate for you when you are evaluating someone who might join your team because they're looking mission driven work? What's important for you, or what have you seen that it will probably would work?
Okay, so this is a really great question. So nonprofit, first of all, you got to do some self-reflection. Working for a nonprofit is wonderful. You're generally working for a cause. You have to make sure that you align with that cause, obviously. So for me, military spouses, veteran community was really important for me. I knew that that was something that I would love to do and help that community. And that's why I fit in so well with Hire Heroes. But you got to make sure that the mission that you got to figure out what you want to do and what makes you happy and what do you want to support first. And that's really what I look for in a candidate for our, my team specifically, is the willingness to help. With that said, working for a nonprofit, there's some downsides to it. I want to be completely transparent. There's such thing as burnout. When you help people every single day and you hear people's problems every single day, that could become very heavy on you. Our transition specialists feel with you. So when we get a client that is so upset that they didn't get the job, like, our TSs feel that as well and take that with them. So it's stressful, specifically in the career field that we're working in and helping people find jobs. And really, usually our clients are at a really low point in their life. They're looking for employment. It's hard out there. We recognize that, it's really tough. There's so much competition. Everyone's looking for work. So we feel that with you, and we're there right with you. So there's such thing as nonprofit burnout, which you have to be aware of. And if you could emotionally handle that, every day. But yeah, so you just got to do some self-reflection. I think someone with a passion for doing the work is what I look for. Also, we hire previous clients a lot. So I was a previous client of Hire Heroes. So I was already in the pipeline. I was involved in the program. And we look at those candidates a lot. Like they're already familiar with what we're doing. We also hire a lot of our volunteers as well. So these people came into our organization as a volunteer doing mock interviews and career counseling. They're already engaged in our mission. So I look at that, and then also just being proactive in your job search. So with that said, we recently had a serving spouses transition specialist role. I had one role to fill, and I think I had about 600 candidates come through. And it was just me looking through all these candidates. So with that said, it's hard. And the ones that I really stood out to me were the people who messaged me on LinkedIn, told me a little bit about their background, why they're a good fit for the role. So I went in and flagged those people who messaged me on LinkedIn. So always go above and beyond, reach out to, people on LinkedIn, connect with one another. Referrals mean so much. We ended up hiring someone who was a referral of one of our current teammates. So really heavy on the referrals. I know I always say it's all about who you know in the job search, but really as much as I want to hire all 600 of you, I do. I'm going to go with someone that I'm already working with who vouches for someone else. And I'm going to look at that client and interview that, candidate. So referrals, reaching out on LinkedIn, and then just having a passion for what it is at hand. What the nonprofit is trying to kind of just do in the end of the day is our mission is to get military spouses and veterans hired into meaningful careers. So if that passion comes through in your interview, it doesn't matter if you have like Salesforce, if you haven't used Salesforce, like I will look past that if you showcase that you really want to do this work and help people.
Wonderful. That is really refreshing, really great to hear from you how you look at potential candidates. Because I know in other nonprofits or other, just in general, employers, tech and being what I would say like job ready or career ready with all these technologies sometimes is a little bit heavier, more important than the mission. We'll sell you the mission, we'll sell you the culture perhaps a little bit more in the process, but it's really great to hear from you. It's about the intent, the heart, the drive that is a better match versus the hassle of having to figure out the technology, the project management tools, all these other things that sometimes get in the way with the real career work. So thank you for clarifying that. And I'm with you. I'm a terrible hiring manager. I don't think I could go through that process anymore again, even if it's for consulting, because I want to hire everybody. I think all of us in this level in the nonprofit work, they do want to hire all candidates that applied that are very mission driven. So with that, Kelly, how do candidates take the rejection, or how can we minimize the personal rejection, I guess, or not make it so personal when we are declined for a role or a referral because of, I don't know, technology issues, perhaps resume candidacy not being ready? How do we process that emotionally to be ready to recharge for the next role? How do you coach your members to do that?
Yeah, I always try to. I mean, I want to be honest. I'm sure so many people have gotten burned of different organizations. Like you apply for a role, you don't hear anything. Unfortunately, it's just the caliber of how many people are applying for positions these days. HR is overwhelmed, hire managers are overwhelmed, and sometimes they can't even get you a reject. They can't reach out. I try to make sure to notify all the candidates who applied that they haven't been selected. Those of you who message me on LinkedIn, I will reach out to you personally and let you know why you're rejected. I will, I want to help you as much as possible. So I'll send you the registration link to get you registered. Let's redo your resume, stuff like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad that you have the time to do all of that and to
I
pre-screen
don't,
your
but
LinkedIn messages. So I got to the point where it's like just log into the neighborhood and send a direct message because there's so many communication channels, and then it gets delayed. Communication back response can get be delayed, and so that's where I think sometimes our feelings or the just the process could get lost or just in general not reach you on time. So um, everyone works a little bit different. So I'm glad that today all of you who are watching or will watch the replay could connect with Kelly and continue to follow her on LinkedIn, but also follow Hire Heroes USA and be able to identify the best way for you to find your mission driven career so that you can connect, support other service members or maybe other initiatives. So with that, Kelly, what is there a different alternative? So let's say I cannot make it to a nonprofit, but I really need a job. How can I make mission driven work or land a career like that? Give me some examples, but it still be able to support the military community in general that perhaps it still be feel meaningful. And I know that's a really broad question, but
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I failed to mention is salary is going to look a lot of different in a nonprofit versus a corporate job. So you have to do research on that end on the salary side of things. You might be paid at the lower end, but then you get to fulfill your purpose of helping people. But yeah, just volunteer work, volunteer for organizations that the mission resonates with you. I think at the end of the day, just get involved that way.
great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And one other just last question. Why perhaps for you seems like when people applied or people are just very very driven to get a job ASAP, but what are we doing on our end? And I'm going to do the same question for employers or maybe perhaps from resources that you think from your own perspective, but as a candidate, why are we failing to meet some of those mission driven metrics or points that need to be highlighted so that we can stand out? What's happening in the translation process of the application to the hiring perhaps team?
Yeah, I think it's just overwhelmed with candidates. So you really got to make yourself stand out. Messaging the hiring manager on LinkedIn. If you don't know who the hiring manager is, message someone in the organization. Ask if they could refer you to the hiring manager. It's doing those extra steps so you're not just another resume coming through the applicant tracking system. And also just tailoring your resume and cover letter around the position. So when the hiring manager is looking at your resume, I could see how you align to this job and how that you're going to fit in well and how you have the skills and abilities to do this job. So tailor as much as possible, and then also network as much as possible. Those are my two big advice.
Awesome. And then in your point of view, from the employer side, what are some employers out there, not to mention anyone specifically, what are they might be missing from further evaluating mission-driven candidates? What's missing on their end that perhaps could be causing why some people don't get that mission-driven work?
So for the employer's perspective, is that what you're asking?
Yes, sorry, yes.
So yeah, we're always trying. That's another piece of Hire Heroes. We're always trying to educate employers as well for military spouses. Like some employers will take a look at a military spouse's resume and see that they have gaps of employment. They moved all around. So we're trying to educate employers to not just disregard their resume because of that. Military spouses are highly educated. We're really resilient. We're built-in project managers. Usually once someone hires a military spouse, they want to hire more military spouses because of the hard work and hustlers that military spouses are. Listen, when you're in a community in a crazy lifestyle, such as being a military spouse, you want that one constant. You want that job that is going to be just that constant for you in a crazy, ever-changing life. So look at me. I'm in Hire Heroes for 9 years now. And Hire Heroes has supported me and through multiple PCSs, the birth of my daughter, and is a really great organization for military spouses to work. So find those organizations who are going to support you as a military spouse or veteran. That's why I mentioned MySeco and that job board. These employers are going out to the DoD who want to hire military spouses. So get connected with them. Also, Hire Heroes, our partners on our job board, are looking to hire military spouses. I think it's just finding that right fit of a corporation who understands the military spouse lifestyle and veteran lifestyle, and they recognize the skills that you bring and they want to hire you. Because I guarantee you, once you get hired, that organization will support you.
Absolutely. And I think when all other organizations hire military spouses or very mission driven, military connected families, they just get also, it becomes a replica of goodwill and support and good paid forward stewardship that we bring our friends and our colleagues who we know are tremendous assets for this particular organization. And so we're going to take a moment now, Kelly, to send shout outs to our members who are watching in the various communities. So if you see me looking out here, it's because I'm looking at the different monitor, but I did wanted to put this question here from our a friend here, Charlie from Facebook. It said, "What is your favorite thing about working at Higher Heroes USA?"
Oh, I think the people, honestly, I think throughout the years, we've hired so many great people who really align with, my just self-serving people who want to help, not self-serve, what's the word?
Selfless.
Selfless, selfless people who want to help, others. I think that takes a really special type of person to work in that type of career every day. So I got to meet really great people and colleagues throughout the years. Some of, just like me, have stayed with the organization for many, many years, and just connecting with them. My whole team is military spouses. So you can't beat that. Every day there's always something new that comes up with us, but we're always here to support one another. And honestly, I couldn't ask for a better team. So I think it's just the people that you get to work with. And, I think early on, someone who gets in this type of career field, nonprofit work, helping people, if they realize that this isn't for them, they find themselves out, right? They will leave eventually, the organization if it doesn't resonate the mission with them. So just finding people who, share that mission for me to help military spouses and veterans. That's the coolest part.
Wonderful. Thank you. And how many members do you have in your team? How big is your team?
It's pretty small. So we have our serving spouses team is just 5 of us. So shout out to our
Shout
small
out
but
to
mighty
the
team. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shout out to the military spouse team, of course, and that's a pretty big size team for some nonprofits. So congratulations on
Yeah.
that. Congratulations, boss lady. If I might put you on the spot for great having such a great team. I am going to go and get some shout outs out here really quick to some of our members on this particular monitor. So I want to send a shout out to Sarah. Thank you for Sally, Ali, Brianna. Victoria, thank you, Victoria, for supporting Johnny, Dara, Maria, Madeline, Jillian, Carrie. Thank you, Maria, Morgan, Manny, Grace, as well as Richard. Thank you for Sasha and for Marcy for supporting, as well as Marcy also had a great discussion with us a few months ago. So thank you, a few weeks ago. So thank you so much for supporting. And then, of course, we have more on Facebook, but I think for the sake of timing, and you had a really busy day today, so I want to be respectful of your time. I'll be able to send you, back on to helping and empowering more military spouses throughout our community and getting them career ready. But before we go, I would like to ask you if there's anything we can do for you. What will be your call to action? How would members support you also in your own career journey, but also support in general, the organization's priorities?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a huge advocate of LinkedIn and networking and connecting. So I love talking to you guys. I love meeting people out there. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And then also, I just asked, as military spouses, years ago, I had no idea of the resources out there, and I'm all about resource sharing. So, feel free to share the word of Higher Heroes USA, and Blue Star families to other, service members and military spouses. Let them know that there is help out there. That's really all my call to action is. I want to help more military spouses, get the jobs, because guess what? We deserve to be to be fulfilled in our career. We really do serve as well. There's so much that we give up in our daily life. I think we deserve to have a career and a job that we look forward to. So I just want to help as many military spouses as possible. So spreading the word, it would be my call to ask.
Great. Thank you so much. And I did share in the comments your LinkedIn so that everyone can look you
Perfect.
up and connect with you, follow you, but also replicate those efforts that Kelly and Higher Heroes USA have going on. Don't keep it to yourself. If we are not the right resource for you, chances are we are the right resource for somebody else who's coming on, who doesn't know anything, or who is transitioning, but because of life, they forgot, or they just didn't have a time to evaluate their options. So don't keep it to yourself. Keep sharing the resources, keep supporting. And when you are in doubt and you're not sure how to navigate, then join us in the Blue Star Careers community in the neighborhood, which is our largest nation digital platform for military connected families. And we are creating some great programming there for you. We have some resources. We'll have very soon, by the end of this week. That's my goal, is to create a resource for Higher Heroes USA where you can directly link up to them. So no need for you to write links right now. No need for you to worry about anything. That will be all ready for you right there in the neighborhood. Easy access, also with an app. So that's my pitch right there for you all. So anyway, thank you, Kelly, so much. And again, thank you so much for your flexibility and donating this great time to have this discussion. So good to see you again. And thank you for supporting always our community. Congratulations on the 9 years, and congratulations on your nice team, which I don't have.
Thank you.